Though, where Forensic Investigator Paul O'Sullivan has arrived for his testimony before the ad hoc committee. Zoleka Kodashe speaking to him following, before those proceedings do kick off. Zoleka, over to you.
That's correct, Arabila. I am joined by Paul O'Sullivan, the forensic investigator that has seemingly had a change of heart and is going to tell us why you have now opted to do an in-person appearance before the ad hoc committee instead of one that's virtual.
Yeah, so I've made it clear since 27th of November last year that I'm absolutely happy to give evidence at this committee. In fact, I want to give evidence at this committee. But what I wasn't happy with was the fact that there was a lack of security. And after the Speaker of the Assembly made the decision not to issue the summons, they decided then to focus on my security. So I have to blame Parliament for not providing proper security. I've also provided my own security, but the reality of the situation is I've been fighting crime in South Africa for 36 years. I didn't wake up last year and start fighting crime. You know, a lot of people forget this. I think it was 25 years ago that I started focusing on the then Commissioner of Police, Jackie Selebi. And I spent 7 years of my life to expose the criminality of the police under Jackie Selebi. And no sooner had I finished mopping up that little exercise than I started again. And I think at the last count, it's either between 12 and 15 generals and 18 brigadiers in the police that have faced criminal prosecution as a result of the investigations of Forensics for Justice. And we set Forensics for Justice up in, I think, 2015 for the sole purpose of exposing criminality in the criminal justice system. And now we have a bunch of rogue cops, led by the Commissioner. This will be the third Commissioner of Police that I've focused on, which is Masemola. I consider Masemola to be part of the problem, not part of the solution. And I consider people like Khumalo to be part of the problem, not part of the solution. You have to remember that Khumalo was head of crime intelligence in KZN from 2018 until 2022. And what happened in 2021 was 300 people were murdered in the riots and 100 billion rands worth of damage done to the economy of this country, while that man was head of crime intelligence in KZN. And what happens? In 2022, he gets promoted to be head of crime intelligence in the country, and he's controlling a slush fund of 600 million rand a year. And between him, Masemola and Khumalo, and Mkonazi, they've been running riot with that slush fund. And it's time the taxpayers' money being splashed out on luxury cars and luxury lifestyles for these rogue cops is brought to an end.
So, Mr. O'Sullivan, you're saying that you don't have undue influence within the police service, and instead you are trying to root out these elements of corruption, particularly in relation to the Secret Service account? Absolutely.
In fact, I've stated in my submission to Parliament, which I prepared last year already, that the Crime Intelligence Secret Service account, I call it the slush fund, is the root of all evil in the police. And what they do is they cover up their expenditure, their thievery of that Secret Service account by saying, oh, this is for operational purposes, it's secret, you can't know about it. They go out and spend 120 million rand on properties, and they register those properties in a private company. Who owns that private company? Those are the sort of questions that Parliament needs to be asking.
Okay, Mr. O'Sullivan, I also don't want to interfere with the testimony that you will be giving before the committee. So you're saying that Parliament has now provided you with that security after the Speaker had raised concerns in relation to their engagement with you over your concerns?
Yeah, I wrote to them in December and again in January, and told them that if they failed to allow me to testify virtually, they must just issue me with a summons. And then I'll take that summons to the High Court and bring an application to obtain an order from the High Court that they allow me to testify virtually. And that was a wake-up call to them. And now they have provided additional security. I needed to be able to arrive here in a secure manner and leave in a secure manner. And they've now focused on that.
Okay, thank you so much. That is Mr. Paul O'Sullivan, the forensic investigator that is going to be testifying before the inquisitorial body, Parliament's ad hoc committee at 11 a.m., just speaking to us about why he's had a sudden change of heart and also clarifying that Parliament has now provided him with the security detail that he needed, given that particular correspondence from National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza to the inquisitorial body, raising concerns over their initial failure to engage Mr. O'Sullivan over his security concerns. Now, he says that he has been provided with those security detail and will be testifying at 11 a.m. and also speaking about some of his evidence that he will be providing before the inquisitorial body in relation to Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the top cop in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Crime Intelligence Head Dumisani Khumalo, as well as the National Commissioner for Police, Fannie Masemola.